Ooh, hello, welcome to the show. I'm your host, Johnny Baghead. Hold on a sec, I just want to... there we go. Adjust something there. Welcome back, I am back. I'm also on camera. How's that? Haha. After my little rest on Thursday. But yes, it is I. And what are we doing today? So we are having... It won't technically be the last time, but we are doing like our Addendum bonus Serious Sam Next Encounter stream. Now, you might be wondering why, because, you know, didn't we beat that game last time on PlayStation 2? And yes, we totally beat it. Here's the thing, though. This game, if we're going to be honest, and we'll kind of see it. So, I believe it was primarily made for Dreamcast. Look, what am I saying? It was primarily made for the Nintendo Gamecube. And from everything I've seen, the PlayStation 2 version is quite a compromised port. All the content's there. All the levels are there. And heck, it like randomly has online multiplayer that the other version did not have. But like on a visual and performance level, and even on an audio level, which is weird. It is a very compromised version, and I do want to say that I do think that if someone had made the game maybe for the PS2 in mind first, I think you could have got a better looking game out the PlayStation 2. Like, obviously the scale of the levels is very big, and the enemy count and things like that. But considering what this system had done and done since, it feels like this feels closer to a game built for original Xbox ported down the PlayStation 2. Granted, obviously the GameCube was more powerful than the PlayStation 2 in a lot of ways, but also the PlayStation 2 had a lot of weird and bespoke hardware that actually allowed it in some cases to do things on a more technical level than the other systems. It's why there's a couple of PlayStation 2 to Xbox ports where the Xbox ports are actually not as good, where they don't run as well, and there's a lot of like visual effects that don't look quite right and things like that. But yes, also this is a brand new thing for us. This is the first like, I've been meaning to do this for a while, but this is the first time that we're going to be looking at real hardware capture of GameCube. Now, you might have noticed in the stream title, I put an asterisk there. And the reason why is I'm going to have to reveal behind the bag that I am actually playing on a Nintendo Wii. But there is a really good reason for that, which I'm going to swap over here. Also, I think I need to turn this down a bit more. Okay. So, there is a very good reason why I am using the Nintendo Wii, and it's because getting component and this is not progressive, mind you, but just getting component out and progressive out of a GameCube is actually kind of a nightmare. So, we'll go through this here. This is a page on the Everybody Wiki, which tends to archive and keep active pages that Wikipedia and a couple of other wikis deem like not worthy of being on the site, because they apparently don't count lists, even though there's a bunch of articles that are lists, like the list of platinum games, the list of games that came out on a platform. If you read a page about like a game publisher or developer, it will have a list there, or it will link to a list. But fucking whatever. So, I'll read this here. The GameCube's 480 signal, which is the highest video quality it can provide, is only natively supported by certain NTSC region games and can only be utilized if specific hardware is provided. For PAL region games, the default video output is normally 576i 50Hz, while some games provide an option to use PAL 60, which is 480i 60Hz. Widescreen is not supported often, but it is used by some, and this is one of the games that supports it. So, this second paragraph is the main one. To get a 480p signal from the Gamecube console, it's first necessary to use a DOL001 model system, as these were equipped with a digital AV port. This port was removed with the DOL101 revision because Nintendo found that less than 1% of players were using the port. Furthermore, a component cable, video cable and support television required, yeah, of course. The only cable that can support a 480p signal from the GameCube are the official Nintendo brand YPBPR component cables available in RCA North America and D-Terminal in Japan. Here's the big thing. These cables are equipped with a proprietary DAC chip developed by Nintendo, which has not been reproduced by any third-party company. Since the cables only carry a video standard AV cables are still necessary for audio, first generation Wii systems are also capable of outputting 480p for compatible GameCube games if component cables are used, and the system is set to 480p mode, which I believe that's the Wii I'm using. I could be wrong. I need to actually test it. Though, I will say we can go through this list here, which there might be some games missing on here, but I can confirm by going through this list that Serious Sam does not natively support 480p. You can apparently use this thing called Swiss, which is a homebrew thing to do it. I haven't looked into that. This is just a marker to say that it can do 16:9. Alright, hold on. Let me get that. Oh, hi, welcome to the stream, Clarice. Sorry, I was up on my web browser page, so I didn't see your comments. Yes, so that's the thing. So it's a weird proprietary cable that used a specific chip that processed the progressive scan image. And as I mentioned, not a single PAL release actually had it. They removed progressive scan from all of the PAL releases. So I don't even know if a PAL GameCube, even if it is a 001 model, I don't even know if you can get PAL. I don't know if you can even get progressive scan and work on there, even if you were to use homebrew or modding stuff to run NTSC copies. But yeah, as this also mentions on here, I should mention. Here we go. Yeah, in order to enable progressive scan mode, the B button must be held down as a compatible game boots. This will display a prompt giving the player the option to turn progressive scan on or off. The next time a progressive scan compatible game is played, it's not necessary to hold the B buttons. The system remembers these settings and will automatically display the prompt. Selecting no at this prompt, turn on system. Yep. This procedure is identical to enabling PAL 60 in these games. Hang on, let me just read this a bit closer. Progressive scan compatible games played on the Wii set to fly. Yes. So luckily, if you're playing on Wii, you don't need to hold down the button. If you've got your Wii menu set to progressive scan mode, it'll just give you the prompt. I don't know why it's this way. Whereas with the Wii, you getting component cables for that quite easy. Also, it's a lot easier, and this is what I'm doing here. I'm running an NTSC copy of Serious Sam, a backup, because the PAL version doesn't have a 60 Hz mode. So it just makes more sense because I can play any GameCube game on here. I can use GameCube controllers. I can use GameCube memory cards. I can get all the 480i and 480p signals out of the console. I don't have to, and apparently getting that cable is hard. It's never been easy to get. Just the fact you need like certain models, and then you need that cable, and yeah, it's a whole headache. Technically, probably the easiest way to do it nowadays is if you use a homebrew hack on the Wii U to run GameCube games, because then you're just going straight to HDMI out anyway. But I'm a weird purist in not in the sense of like, no, you don't play on emulator, because there are huge advantages, but I like that. I'm a purist in the sense that I do think the original experience for a lot of these games should be experienced. And probably the main thing is I like the fact I could showcase this. So that's what I'm doing here. So I think I do have a save file from just messing around on here. Which I think I'm going to do this. Let me check my... The thing is, it says invert look, but I think invert look is not inverted. Here, let's put this up. Rumble, all that, yep, that should be all okay. I'm curious about... Okay, I've technically deleted Serious Sam as a character from this, but whatever. But the fact they have like they put it separate players, I'm curious if like the character model actually reflects anything in the single player or not. Now, I'm not sure if we'll watch all these pre-rendered cutscenes. I just want to look at the first one to kind of compare the quality. Though I'm going to say... I might have to go back. I don't think these look any better or worse than the PlayStation 2 pre-rendered cutscenes. And this is a big thing I want to mention, because I think it's why this game is a bit of an anomaly. So, one of the big things that held the GameCube back was, and Nintendo had a reason which makes some amount of sense. They were very, very paranoid about piracy in that generation, and heck, they've always been, especially. But which is why they like stuck with cartridges into the Nintendo 64 era, because cartridges are a lot harder to pirate and things like that. So they went for their like proprietary smaller GameCube discs, and one of the key problems with those was, they couldn't hold anywhere close to what a DVD could. DVDs on the PlayStation 2, hang on, I've got it up in a different browser window. Yeah, a PlayStation 2 single-layer DVD could hold, a DVD 5 could hold 4.7 gigabytes. There are also a couple of dual-layered games that would come on DVD 9s, which was an 8.5 gigabyte. Though that was mostly games like right at the end of the life cycle. I think like Gran Turismo 4, for example, is on a dual layer. Whereas the GameCube, the Nintendo optical discs were 1.46 gigabytes. So we're talking like a third, maybe less than a third of what a DVD was, which was what both the PlayStation 2 and the Xbox were using. And it's why a lot of multi-platform games would typically suffer on the GameCube. It's a very weird pull, but it's the one I always think of. Def Jam Fight for New York is probably like has one of the hugest kind of changes because of that. Loads of music's missing from the game, that's typically the thing you would see, is that they would cut out audio. So if there was a licensed soundtrack, you would get like a way smaller soundtrack. But the big change in that one is that game had a character creator single player mode, and there was four voices you could pick. In the GameCube version, you couldn't pick a voice. There was one. They had to cut like 3 create a character voices from that version because they just couldn't keep it on the disc. And then usually you'd see like other cuts in other ways. Like if they had pre-rendered video, they would usually be a lot more compressed. I don't think any multi-platform games, and when I say multi-platform, I do have to give a caveat here because Resident Evil 4 is technically a multi-platform game, but when it released on GameCube, it wasn't. But I can't think of any kind of like from the start made multi-platform games that had multiple discs on GameCube. It seemed like mostly first party or like ones that were kind of like partnered with Nintendo would use multi-discs, so that's why you get like Metal Gear Solid Twin Snakes, Resident Evil 4, Resident Evil Remake. I think Resident Evil 0 is also a multi-disc game. They don't really count, but the a couple of the like Nintendo, well, they were more bonus discs. Like there was a version of Wind Waker that came with a disc that had Ocarina of Time and Master Quest on it, and that was on a separate disc. That kind of thing. Whatever. But here's the weird thing about this. Because I've mentioned, like, here's all these limits that the GameCube had because these smaller disc sizes. This is a... Okay, so first you'll notice 60 FPS. Is the huge change here. Oh, actually, you know what? My aiming is inverted. Okay, so they actually use the proper terms. I am de-interlacing the signal, just for clarity. Well, not clarity, but, you know, transparency. And the reason why is, without the de-interlacing, the full 60 FPS didn't really come through. It looked a bit choppy. But also, the output resolution is a little higher. So, obviously, both the GameCube and the PlayStation 2 could output 480i. But the version of Serious Sam on PlayStation 2 is not running at 480. It's running at like a slightly lower resolution. And I don't know if this is running at exactly 480 either. But it's a bit higher. But also just the texture quality is better. Texture quality is better. Audio samples are better. And it's weird because that's stuff that would normally, for a lot of multi-platform games, the GameCube version would normally compress those to like save memory because you know they had to work with a smaller disc. I am curious if something a lot of multi-platform games might have done is not put like duplicate data on discs. I learned about this kind of recently. Oh, I was so close to gold there. I learned about this because it was a video talking about the like pirated bootleg versions of Grand Theft Auto games that would come on CDs, and one of the ways they would do it is so. Most games, when you play most PlayStation 2 games, they actually put repeat data on there to help speed up disc read speed. Because even digital discs still work quite similar to how a vinyl works, where the data's in order along the disc. And by putting repeat code on there, it means that you don't the laser doesn't have to like travel really far to find data. So like, you know, if you put data that's near like the outer edge of the disc and the laser's currently in the middle, instead of having to go all the way to the outer edge, there might be a duplicate version of the data nearby. I could see that GameCube games might have like had to forego that. Okay, yeah, so picking a different character model doesn't seem to do anything. I don't know if we'll have to see if the like audio's different. Nope. Okay, I actually want to turn this up a bit now. I think I've got this a bit too low.
Cool gun some more.
But there's a... I did tweet it out when we started the playthrough. There's a really cool channel I found that does a lot of like real hardware comparisons of older games, and they specifically did this one, and they show the differences. But you can see already, just like looking around, that the texture quality is better. So the texture quality is better, the resolution's higher. Apparently, I'll say, I don't think the audio is that much better, but the audio samples are apparently a little better on Gamecube. Also, I'm noticing that I think, like, when your health is overboosted, there's that second bar there. I don't believe that was in the PS2 version. I could be wrong, but I don't remember it. But of course, the huge change here is this is running at 60 FPS. And that makes such a huge difference.
Double the gun, double the fun, baby.
Yeah, I will say Sam's voice lines do sound better. They sound crisp. They don't sound as crunchy. They sound very crisp. So I think why the PlayStation 2 version ends up looking a bit muddier and sounding muddier, it's either a performance thing, and bear in mind, because I don't know if we'll even see it. I don't know if this version can frame drop. That PS2 version definitely can, though. There are some later levels where it was dipping pretty heavy. Like, I think in some cases it was going down to below 20. I don't think it ever went below 10, but it got close to, like, 10, I think. But yeah, increased resolution means we can see enemies from a bit further away. I was messing with some of the really early levels on the PS2 version when I was doing some, video capture testing stuff on Friday, which is a whole mess that I need to go into at some point, but I don't want to do it today because I'll be upset. But in the villa stage, which is this level after this, I'm going to see if I can unlock any of the lost levels, because we didn't actually look at any of the lost levels when we played through the PS2 version. But yeah, just... Oh. 60 FPS does so much for a game. Like, even games from, like, this era or even earlier. Like, you know, it'll depend on the person. There are some people who just are weird and they can't go back to games that look older than, like, 10 years old. Which just seems miserable because you're missing out on so many classics. Oh yeah, this happened last time. I couldn't figure out where the corridor was. But yeah, the fact you can even discern, like, what the enemies that far away are is a huge bonus. I don't know. One thing I have noticed is I feel like the music isn't playing. Hang on, I don't have the music turned down too low, do I? No. Okay. I don't know if that's that. Maybe that's related to running the way I'm running this. I didn't hear about running these backups needing to use, like, specific compatibility modes for certain games or anything. Also, I noticed that checkpoint sound is a completely different sound effect. It's not the Nebulon homestar runner sound. Yeah, I think the music's supposed to be playing here, but I don't want to... That might be because of the way I'm running this. That it's not... I'll look into that. I'll try and figure out, like, why the music doesn't seem to be playing, like, in the levels. Because I'm pretty sure there is supposed to be music playing. I might, like, quit out to the menu and... And, you know, load back in and see if that changes anything. At the very least, we got the, like, mayhem mode music.
Easy come, easy go.
But yeah, this kind of is very eye-opening in a way, because it really showcases, like, oh no, that PlayStation 2 version is actually quite scuffed. Yeah, for some reason the, like, music isn't triggering for some reason. And I'm pretty sure that's not supposed to be the case. Also, yeah, we can hold down and weapon wheel still. And, like, yeah, the controls are slightly different because you're working with a Gamecube controller, which has some less buttons. But it's actually not that bad because the PS2 version didn't really use the extra buttons for anything. Like, the D-pad in both versions doesn't do anything. A lot of the face like, both these two face buttons. A is just kind of like your confirm button. B is the reload change ammo type. X and Y, like, cycle the two, like cycle ammo types. Weapon, sorry. Yeah, we'll finish this level and then I'll see if I can get the music to trigger again. Because it's just a bit weird playing this without the music. Okay, that music still works. Aim and drum break loop. Yeah. Oh, there we go. That fixed it. Okay, that, I'm gonna say, is probably just a bug with the way I'm running this. If you're probably using an actual disc or you just have the right compatibility mode on, I bet that does not happen. Ah! But this reminds me, when I was in, like, the Bad Game Hall of Fame Discord just handing out, and a random giant bot, like, not even giant bomb, an old GameSpot clip, like a Giant Bomb GameSpot clip got pulled up, and it was a video that was supposed to be a video about Serious Sam Next Account on PlayStation 2, but Ryan Davis and Jeff Gerstmann just talk about a Crazy in Love ringtone that Jeff got. But I remember in the clip, Jeff asks Ryan, "Oh, so you know, how's that game?" He's like, it's okay, 6 out of 10. And I thought that was a bit harsh, but I think they were specifically talking about the PlayStation 2 version. Also, I'm not playing great. I haven't got bronze on that. I'm gonna try harder, but yeah, this already looks a lot better.
Never mind. mind the wine. Where's the beer?
Also,
For the bowl already.
on the PS2 version, when you looked at your... Okay, no. When you looked at weapons, the music only paused in the serious mode. I remember that now. Also, yes, I can showcase a secret now. Haha. I mean, if I found any of the secrets on that first level, I probably would have got gold. Because the secrets and the pickups are really what help you with those. Like, yeah, like these models are the same and things like that, but the ground texture is one of the more noticeable changes. I did see an argument, not even an argument, just a discussion about, okay, so what does the GameCube version, what are like downsides to the GameCube version, potentially? Oh dear. And someone mentioned the controls. Now, I think their main point there was just because the GameCube doesn't have like a traditional dual stick system. Like, it has dual sticks, but it has the thing where the right stick, the C stick, is smaller. But yeah, oh man, seeing this game run at 60 is just... It's like, oh wow, this is what this game was supposed to look like. Not the way I was playing it. I do want to stress though that I think that PlayStation 2 version is totally playable. There are some multi-platform releases where on some versions, and sometimes it's not even just on PS2, like sometimes it's, oh, the GameCube version is the way worse version, I just did that to get the extra 5 health. Or the Xbox version, like that kind of thing. And some of those versions can be so bad where it's like, yeah, like there's absolutely no reason to play this outside of just the like as a curio. But yeah, just because here's one of the huge things that not only the visual increase that 60 FPS adds is it makes a more responsive like gameplay experience. Because if a game is running at like 30 FPS or lower, it can only register inputs on those active windows. So, you know, if you press... So, if we divide any game up to, like, 60 frames, you know, like 1/60th of a second, but the game runs at 20 FPS, if you press any inputs between that time, they don't activate until the next frame starts. Or so it straight up will in some cases mean that a lot of your inputs will feel delayed, even though they're technically not, but they'll feel like they're like a millisecond or two, or potentially more depending on the frame rate, behind what you're trying to input. And for this kind of like very quick reaction style gameplay this is, even I can feel it on like a mind level, like with aiming, it feels snappier to do things. I still find it fascinating though that not only is the frame rate better, but like the texture quality is better. if you notice, I forget what this effect's called, but you can see how they kind of... If you look there, you can see, like, the lower texture version, and you can see how it, like, goes from the blurry one to the crisp one. The PS2 version kind of just looks like these distance textures at all times. But it's fascinating that, like, a lot of the audio samples are high quality as well. And it's not because of disk space. And the funny thing is that I think Serious Sam Next Account on PlayStation 2 is one of the bigger games that does take up a lot of its disk space. Like, I think the ISO for the game is, close to the full, like, 4 gigs. I could check that in a sec, actually, because I do have the, like, modified for, band server ISO on hand. I mentioned this in the pre-stream thing, that I did want to... I wanted to couple this, like, bonus with a little look at the online in Serious Sam on PS2. Just because it was fascinating that this was a multi-platform game. It's better on the Gamecube in pretty much every aspect, but here's this one cool thing that the PS2 version has. But I don't think first I'll be real, I didn't give people enough notice. I asked them yesterday if anyone was interested. But also just because I've like stuff I've been doing. Oh, you know, I don't know if okay, no, there was one area I used the chainsaw in the PS2 playthrough. There we go. Get out of here. But yeah, even because, you know, I am using an actual GameCube controller, even though I believe this this backup loader I'm using does let you use alternative controllers if you want. It's honestly not that bad using the C-Stick. Like, it's a little small for me. Like, it does feel a little weird, but it's not unusable. It definitely doesn't feel as good for, like, very small movements like this. It feels like this is how you play. But the triggers, like shooting with the kind of like clickier triggers, seems fine to me. Oh yeah, I remember this bit. They just spawn some of these kamikaze enemies for a while. This is a funny little story, but while I was trying to sort out some like audio issues I was having with like a new PS2 upscaler I have, I was just messing around with the PS2 version of the game while I was just like getting things sorted. I think the way the lock-on works might be a little different as well. Like, it might not be... I think it's a little bit more generous on PS2. Just slightly. Oh. Nope. Oh, okay, we're going this way. And at one point I was using like a headphone jack to RCA cable, and it was a very minor issue, but a couple of RC cables, those are the like stereo red and white cables, for some reason they were flipped. I plugged them like into the right inputs, but they're actually flipped in the colors they're supposed to be. And I had it, you know, I was only doing this for kind of just like messing around testing purposes, so I didn't really bother to go fix it. But trying to play this game where the stereo audio is really good for placing where enemies are. Oh yeah, this bit on PS2 is like kind of tough. Like actually spotting these enemies flying in. Because you could barely even see them when they were this far away. Here they're a little bit more readable just because the resolution is a bit higher. But yeah, this is... God, the 60 FPS is so nice. It makes such a difference. Oh, I should have swapped to the Desert Eagles there. Because the Desert Eagles actually do a, like... Not counting the reload time, I think they actually do a bit more damage per second. Also, yeah, I think this underwater look looks a little nicer. I think the, like, blur or stuff they were trying to do on the PS2 version, I think it looked a bit more rough. Let's see. I did find a secret here. Do I remember what... Yes. It's a very, very weird secret, but if you... There we go. Is that a gold? Please tell me that's gold. Oh, I was way above the par time. Oh. Okay. I don't know why. When I was playing the PS2 version, I was actually getting a lot of golds on these early levels. Yeah, I could definitely see the argument that playing this game with a Gamecube controller with the C-stick is a little awkward compared to if you were playing this on with the DualShock controller. Yeah, we get to see how this stuff is.
Where's the furry dice?
Yeah, about the same. It's still wild to me that they added vehicle stuff to this game. That isn't in any of the... From what I asked people, they told me none of the Serious Sam games on PC up to this point ever had vehicle sections. I find it really funny, by the way, that you can pick up pickups while you're in the Jeep. Binny. But yeah, it's just so nice having this style of game. Like, it wasn't, like, offended, but I was a little taken aback when I was watching that old GameSpot clip. And seeing someone saying, like, oh yeah, 6 out of 10. I was like, I don't know, I think that's harsh. Like, maybe if you're making a very direct comparison to the, like, the PC versions, maybe that's why you would score it lower. Or maybe if you compare it to what, like, console-style shooters were doing at the time. But I thought on the merits of its own, I was like, no, I think this is a little better than a 6 out of 10. But they were talking about the PS2 version, and I definitely think you could make the argument that the compromised visual and presentation makes that a more of a 6 out of 10 experience. Let's see. I don't think there's any real difference with just like enemy behavior or weapons or anything like that in this version. That'd be kind of weird. Oh, that was the wrong button. Take care of that guy before it's too late. Okay, I think if I do this right, I could get mayhem mode, like get the 20 combo counter. Oh. Ah, shame. Woo! I do like the vehicle stuff. My main thing is I just wish you could get fuel mid-stage. Maybe that's like the challenge of the whole thing. Ah. The thing is, the fuel is both your health counter and actual fuel as well. So both traveling. Oh, I keep forgetting to just do this, to swap weapons. Oh, that was bad. I will say, I think, even though, again, my experience with the Serious Sam games is quite limited, I've only played, like, one of the first two, or, like, the remasters of them on PC, like, years ago. I think, and someone might disagree with me, and fair enough, but I think the mild kind of hack and slash... No, I think there's a treasure pickup, like, right at the back here. You're probably meant to get this if you've got the Jeep around still. But yeah, I wish you could just refuel, like, there were fuel pickups for the Jeeps. I don't know if 1,000 points is even really worth it for just that. I could imagine there's maybe some more up there or something. I probably should have looked into that Swiss thing just to see how the, like, progressive scan, like, forced mode looks. But like I said, I found a decent combination of, like, de-interlacing effects in OBS for this game that I think look fine. Oh, these guys.
They never killed anything in diapers before.
These guys are kind of weird because I think they're only on this level. Ah, broke my combo. But yeah, I think there's a minor kind of like Devil May Cry hack and slash inspiration with this game, and specifically this console one, because this is mechanics that aren't in the PC versions. But the combo meter, like the whole combo system and the grading system, it feels just like, to me, it feels ripped right out of Devil May Cry 1. Or maybe like one of the later ones. Oh, hello. Though I think this game is before Devil May Cry 3, so it definitely would have been like Devil May Cry 1 would have been the main influence there. Damn it, I can hear it. Oh, there you are. Ah, I wasn't quick enough. Okay, this might be the time to get another mayhem. Ah, these fuckers ruined it. Oh wow, I ran out of shotgun ammo. I forget ammo can be a little sparing for certain weapons in these early levels. These roam ones. I do like how many enemies are unique to their time era, though. There we go. Whoops. Didn't mean to swap to that. Oh man, taking care of these enemy types when this is like the best weapon I've got. Rough. Yeah, let's get this health. There we go. But yeah, we'll maybe look at this for like 30, 60 minutes more. This will be a shorter stream. I probably should have tried to get a save file that had all the unlocks just so we could have looked at them. Oh man, I'm doing really bad with these medals today. But stuff like that, just having that kind of skill-based scoring system, I am a sucker for. Also, I can't tell what weapon that is on the loading screen. That looks like a different weapon than any of the weapons I remember. Maybe I'm wrong, but I can't tell what weapon that's supposed to be. But yeah, in like stages like this, for example, it's set up that you want to take care of probably the flying enemies first. One thing I am curious about is if the harder modes have increased enemy counts. I think we'll check that in a bit. Or if it is literally just damage numbers. I really hope it is enemy counts. And not just damage numbers. Yep, use that stereo audio. Use it better.
Where's my serious kettle when I need it?
Oh yeah, it is weird going back to these early levels where you have the like lower arsenal. Like, there are some later game weapons that are so good for taking out some of these enemy types, and we just don't have them yet. Yeah! No one's around, but yeah! Oh, wait. There we go. Got one at least. Better than nothing. Okay, that's just... Oh, well, I do need it. Trying to see if I could figure out if there was any... Oh, yeah, I forgot. You do start finding rockets in this level. Don't have the rocket launcher yet, though. I do wish the par times were outside of combat encounters, but I guess because some of the combat encounters are like secret triggers, it wouldn't really work that way. Okay. Let's get a bit more ammo. I mentioned it before, but maybe that's the whole kind of challenge of the timer, is to not go to these like really far out the way ammo pickups. No reason for that, just thought I'd do that. Oh yeah, this is where they give you the rocket launcher, I think.
Sweet. Now I get to blow stuff up.
It's weird that that's the first enemies they show you with the rocket launcher, because I don't know if it's even like the best weapon to use against them. Alright, a lot of other enemies here. I think there might be some differences with like the game speed and things like that, but I could just be imagining them. I'm not sure. Oh yeah. Oh, I forgot about these guys. There are a lot of like cool. Again, I say again, but there's a lot of cool one-time enemies in each like act or chapter, I guess. It's weird. These like galloping things, I feel like they want you to use the shotgun on, but I think the shotgun, the fire rate's just too low. I think you're better to just strafe. Oh. This music is so hilarious to me, though. It's just so ridiculous, early 2000s drum and bass. I would say that's probably my main criticism, is the battle music, because it does feel like bad Devil May Cry 1, Devil May Cry 2 music. And Devil May Cry 2 is already kind of bad Devil May Cry music, if I'm being honest. Anyone else? Yep. Okay, good. I do need this. Oh, I guess that gun on the loading screen is supposed to be this rocket. It just doesn't really look like it. You know, I do feel like the game speed might be a bit different. I feel like the rockets are faster. I could be just making that up, though. It could just be the frame rate's tricking me. Oh, here we go.
Olay!
Oh, they're not... Okay, I guess if you wanted to get the really good combo on this stage, you might have to space out your kills a bit. No, I've got it now. I think I've got the timing of it now. Again, I really should just use the weapon wheel more often. Okay, well, I think... Yeah, there we go. Come on, come on. There's one. I still wish the rockets were a bit quicker, though. When you find targets like that, it just takes so long. Okay. Oh, yeah, I remember this bit. Let's just move forward here. Yeah, again, I might just be a sucker for this kind of scoring system, but, like, I'm having a lot of fun revisiting this, and this is a game I think I will redo this version and try and go for golds. Oh, I missed. I was really trying to get the... Well, I wouldn't have got it anyway. There wasn't enough enemies. Oh, I missed the fucking secret. Okay, I think there might be a secret like that on the next part, so... Oh, is that all of them? Okay, we got some multipliers at the end there. It's weird they sometimes give you a weapon again. Because I don't... Is it for co-op, maybe? Nah, I guess the secret's only in the first room, like that. Shame. But yeah, they do really encourage, like, repeat playthroughs with this design. And I always appreciate that in a game, because a lot of games, especially nowadays, do not. It's still so weird to me that there are ammo pickups at the end of stages. At least in the PS2 version, ammo did not carry across levels. Okay, silver, so... I think there might be more loading screen art in this version as well. I don't remember these images. You know what? I think ammo does carry across stages in this version, which it didn't in the PS2 version. which is interesting. That's a very minor difference, but that's quite... I wonder why. I guess I still feel like a lot of the differences that were in that PS2 version must have been like keeping stuff in RAM was the main issue there. Yeah, we'll do one more regular stage and then I want to check out like what the first like roam stage on hard is like. Oh.
I forgot my swimsuit.
That still is blowing my mind that the checkpoint sound is a completely different sound effect. They just didn't use the same sound effect for some reason. Or is it sped up maybe? I might have to listen to it again. I still wish there was a way to keep your like mayhem time longer. Like if you were killing quick enough in this mode. But I believe it's just a set amount of time, the killing spree. Pretty sure that bit there is just just to get like a crazy kill spree. Oh, these guys again. I still wish they showed the ammo counter for the other weapons when you were picking up ammo for them. Or they didn't let you pick them up if you had full ammo. It's a very minor thing, but I think it would be nice. Oh, yeah, I kind of remember this room a bit. That might be it. It might be that was just the sound effect slowed down. Oh, yeah, these guys. There we go. Weird, was that it? Got way too used to these later stages where they throw way more enemies at you. Yeah, the fact I even have ammo carried over to this level, that makes such a huge difference. Because in the PS2 version, if you started a level, even if you had like full rockets in the previous level, you did not have full rockets in the next one. Also, I think there's no screen shake effects in you. I don't remember that being in the PS2 version. Okay, let's just get our ammo and head forward. I believe there is some hiccups in the water. Yeah, we'll get the rockets there. And that's such a weird change. And granted, I thought it made sense in the PlayStation 2 version to not carry over ammo. Because surely if the gold medals you should be able to achieve by just starting any of the levels on their own. You shouldn't have to do them in order. But at least in this version, doing them in order means you have more ammo. Like, and that might help you.
No running, no jumping, no horseplay. All that leaves is killing.
Do. Yeah, come on. Also, one thing I did do, and it was random, but it was just because I was doing some testing stuff, other audio testing stuff, and I was like, you know what? I never checked out the Horde mode, the wave-based survival mode thingy they added to Doom Eternal. Oh, that is a great mode. Holy shit, that mode. It's challenging. If you want to get good scores in it, you have to be really fucking good at Doom Eternal. Like, you have to have that combat puzzle down. Which, again, it's still a shame that they didn't put, like, more variety into the ways you could take enemies down. Like, them all kind of having one bespoke weakness that one or two weapons can hit. Though there are some techniques that, like, aren't intentional ones in the games that do work. There's just not enough of them. Oh. I still think the underwater stuff in this is the weakest aspect of either version. Just isn't that fun to do, to have this movement. Yeah, you know what? I think the sound effect is just plays at the wrong speed in one of the versions. The thing is, the PS2 version plays it at the same speed as the Nebulon sound effect from Homestar Runner. Here it's like double speed for some reason. So I don't know which one is, like, what the devs intended. I assume it's this, because I think the PS2 version was not ported by Climax UK. But I could be wrong about that. We might have to check that. There we go. Again, I'm... Oh. I'm very happy this game is very clear and signposting with its... it's... like what doors you're unlocking and things like that. Ah. Oh man, I was really close. You really have to go for secrets. I have to look up that secrets guide. Okay, so what I'm going to do quickly... It's still so weird to me that ammo carries between levels here. We're going to check out this level on Serious. And I want to see, because I believe in the PC version, the PC originals, difficulties did change enemy spawns.
Aw, take me back. I want to play with the cool gun some more.
So let's see if we notice any obvious differences with like enemy counts. Enemies do not seem to have more health, as far as I can tell. Okay, and pickups do seem to give you the same. So I wonder what the differences are. I haven't figured them out yet. I really gotta look back at footage of that PS2 version and see if the health bar is handled differently or if I'm just remembering wrong. Okay, so I'm not seeing enemy count differences yet. But I'm also not really noticing any other differences either. I don't think I'm doing more damage. I don't think the enemies have more health. I don't think the combo system's changed. Yeah, reload. See, I wonder what... Maybe it is health, but it's a really minor change of like how much damage. I don't see any notable differences with the health, with the enemy placements yet. Is that it? Okay.
Green Hawk down.
Come on, come on, come on. Yeah. I just can't get over like how compromised the PS2 version is now that I can like see the differences. I do think the aiming does feel a little weird just using a GameCube controller. So maybe using Nintendo, like I'm technically using like a graphical front end with it, but it's Nintendo that allows you to load the GameCube stuff. I think there are options to use other controllers. So maybe using like the classic Pro controller. That's the one they made for GoldenEye. Maybe the enemy count is higher. That might be the case. Also, I gotta say, we didn't get to any of the like really intense levels later in the game, but I haven't noticed any frame drops either. Yeah, you know, I think there is higher enemy counts. Which might make this the way I would want to play this game. Because getting golds, if the enemy count's higher, it's going to be easier to get golds. Oh, you know what? There's a way to tell. I might be able to look back at a VOD or something to figure out what I'm trying to figure out. But basically, yeah, if I look at a VOD, I can look at what the normal mode enemy count is at the end of stage. Oh, yeah, there's definitely enemy changes. That's probably the secret to getting golds.
Uzi come, Uzi go.
Then, man, considering how rough some of the level, like, frame rates were on PS2 later in the game, how bad would they be if you played them on those harder difficulty levels? Okay, I think these guys might have more health.
How'd you get such a big arm?
But not much.
Wonder what this is worth in dollars.
Ooh, 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 ooh. Yeah, they definitely have more health. But it's not much. I realise it's actually quite a small difference. Because it's just, oh yeah, that shotgun used to take them out. At that range, and now it doesn't. You know, I want to try something with the shotgun. Hang on. Oh dear. I actually run out of ammo. Didn't think it was possible. I am trying to, like, get through quicker, though, to... Okay. Okay, no. If you try and, like, reload, like, when a weapon's reloading or cocking. Okay. So there was 180 par. Hey, we got gold, though. Okay. Oh. Oh, I didn't see that. I didn't see that comment, Klaus. You asked if I got anything in the Steam Summer Sale. I actually don't think I did. I think because I've had to buy some, like, IRL stuff. In fact, I couldn't use it today because it needs to, like, rest for 5 to 12 hours, but I've got a memory foam, like, pillow and lumbar back support thing for my chair. I've got silver spray paint coming. And also the RCA cable I brought for the PS2. Okay, probably the quickest way to do what I want to look up here is to go to my highlights and look at Serious Sam Part 1. Here we go. Don't worry, you won't hear this. Okay. And then skim through. Also, yeah, look at it again. You really see, like, oh yeah, they mess with the texture quality a lot, and just seeing this game run at this lower frame rate just looks wrong now. Okay, no, the enemy, at least the par count is not different, and the par time isn't different, and the secrets aren't different, and but I swear there are some changed enemy placements. I mean, I was rushing through that time, so maybe the par amount of kills is the same on any difficulty level, but they do put more enemies in front of you in certain areas. Or maybe they're like their spawns are more staggered. Okay. I want to look at one more thing. And then I think we'll go to our ranking page. Let's look at this for a bit. But yeah, see, in the PS2 version, you always start with ammo. Okay, I'm curious. Yeah, oh wow, yeah, okay, these lot have way different health. Yep, that's different. Okay. Oh, you've been wondering if you could all spray paint and get damaged. Well, this is a mini on Amazon because there was some sales going on there. And hopefully they have rules about how they package stuff. Okay, yeah, so when they show your best score, it doesn't seem to account for what difficulty level you played at. Let's quickly look at this one on Serious and just see if the enemy count seems notably different again. Yeah, a lot of this loading screen art is just not in the PS2 version. Even though, again, PlayStation 2 is a bigger disc. So, like, why wasn't it on the disc? It's just weird. Yeah. It's specific because of that Prime stuff is, I think, why I got the, like, orthopedic chair cushion thing cheaper. I swear the enemy count is slightly higher. I think the par scores are the same on each difficulty level. But this, to me, looks like more enemies. Like, if we get crazy past the gold requirement, then that will kind of prove it. Oh no, there's way more. It's just funny that the par scores don't change. So yeah, it might act, if you're like good enough at the game. Oh yeah, and look, we even run out of ammo. Okay, hang on. Let me look at this. Did I close this VOD or did I leave it open? Okay, well I didn't leave it open, but let me click watch again and just look what the par score was on the first level was. It's weird. Okay, hang on. Let me just actually look at the footage. Okay, maybe... It's weird. It looks like more enemies, but I don't think it actually is. Anyway, hey, I got gold, though. Okay, you know what I'm going to do, though? Is I'm going to get my VOD, like, right to the start, where you start, the first level. There we go. Hang on. Oh. There we go. There. Um... Okay, I'm going to very quickly get a screenshot of my stream. There we go. And then... Ah, okay, I did that wrong. Sorry, hang on. Let me try that again. Just save that. Put in my captures, just quicker to find. Okay. Yeah, it's what, like, just why is this art not in the PS2 version? There's more data, there's more space on the disc. Okay. So now I can get the screenshot. Here it is. Gamecube. Gamecube was released first, I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure they were maybe the same day. Let's double check, though. That's a good question, actually, Clarice. Serious. Sorry, my GameCube controller wires in the way of the keyboard. Serious Sam. Next encounter. Let's see. Yes, they were both released on the same day. And apparently they were both... Yeah. I guess Climax did do the PS2 version. But it's a pretty compromised version. Okay, so here's the screenshot. Wait, hang on. I didn't mean to resize that. Here we go. So there's me when we did the first part. Oh, I need to resize that a little bit to make it more one-to-one. There we go. So yeah, that's the PS2 version. And the first thing you notice is the shadows. The shadows look a lot better. The lighting's a bit different. But the ground, like, you can see it in the ground. Like, the ground just looks nicer. The resolution looks nicer. Heck, even these models, these statues on the left and right.
Take me back.
Like, look, I think the models are the same, but the lighting on them is a lot better. But there you go. That shows you, like, how stark the differences are between the versions. Okay. I will say, reading the Wikipedia page where it was mentioned, like, oh, the... what were some of the criticisms? And, like, the common criticism was the graphics. And it's just... with this enemy count and this level size, I don't think the graphics could have been much better. I think you could criticize the cutscenes, because the cutscenes look like very amateur-made machinimas from 2004. Okay, hang on a sec. I'm just going to have some water here. I'm going to turn this down a bit. I don't personally agree with any criticism about level design or repetitiveness as like a major issue. I mean, yeah, they're going for a more cartoony, like, graphic novel thing with the Serious Sam design, but this is not that far off from, like, how he looked in Second Encounter on PC, from what I understand. You have to remember, yeah, like, this is an adaptation of, like, the Crow Team games made by another developer. Like I said, we can't really check the multiplayer stuff. I really wish the online supported the co-op mode. A big baby. But yeah, it's local only. But yeah, you got deathmatch. So yeah, so it's weird that the PS2 version doesn't really have any extra content, but let me look how big the ISO for the PS2 version is, because I do have it right now. Because I have the patched ROM for playing online. Let's see. Oh, okay, no, it's not as big as I thought. Oh, wow, yeah. It's actually quite small. It's just about 1.14 gigabytes. And I might still have the Gamecube ISO on this PC. Let me see. I do. Yes, the PS1 is smaller. The Gamecube version is 1.35 gigabytes. That's so bizarre. That they actually, and that makes sense, because I can tell that the audio samples and the textures are lower quality. But you'd think they for example have rendered the pre-rendered cutscenes at a higher resolution, because you could fit that on a PS2 disc. Maybe the PS2 disc has better loading times, because they would be able to like put like repeat discs, you know, they'd be able to repeat the game space multiple times. But yeah, just interesting, because again, it was very common in this era that, yes, GameCube multi-platform games that came out on all three systems, PlayStation 2, GameCube, Xbox, a lot of times, yes, the GameCube versions would have better looking character models and a more stable frame rate, but it was very common for the audio to be way more compressed, or a lot of music missing, and texture quality to also be reduced. But with this game, it seems that the issue was about keeping higher resolution textures and lighting in memory while keeping the frame rate high. Alright, that's being said, we gotta get down to brass tacks here. Hang on, I gotta get the right thing up. Here's the whole reason we played through this game. Ta-da! The tier list. I think I can make this window a bit bigger, actually. Actually, no, because it might cut off because of where I am. Yeah, we'll put it here, though. So, this is the tier list as it currently stood last time. I don't think I've messed with anything off stream here. This is where I left it last time. But, game to rank here, Serious Sam. I think anyone who's watched any of the playthrough and then watched today's bit is going to guess where I would put this. And it's going to go right here. it's just obvious how much better the GameCube version is. To go from like the PS2 version looks fuzzy, the lighting's very flat, the texture quality's lower, the audio's a bit muffled, and then this one 60 FPS, looks crisper, really nice lighting, like the art seems to pop better on this version. Like, and as cool as it is that the PS2 version has that online mode, that obviously doesn't make up for the other issues. I do want to play through this version in my own time and check out all the later levels where I remember there being big frame rate drops in the PS2 version and see if that's the case here. I will say that I don't think the widescreen mode in the PS2 version, like turning it off, didn't really seem to help with the frame rate, even though it is rendering more on screen. What a lot of games will do if you play them in widescreen modes is they actually drop the resolution the game's rendering at to kind of keep the frame rate up. I found at least one game where the widescreen mode actually runs better because it runs at a lower resolution. So it's like, if you don't mind a low resolution, it's actually the better way to play it. But yeah, I'm gonna say I think the mixed reception is a bit harsh on this. Maybe if you're comparing it to like contemporary console first-person shooters in 2004, like, yeah, it's nowhere near on the technical level of a Halo 1 or 2. You know, I would put Time Splitters 2 above this. I think Time Splitters 3 would have been after this. But what this game was going for, which was to make these massive worlds, these massive levels, and to put like dozens of enemies on screen. Like, there are some encounters where legitimately there are like there's like at least 100 enemies on screen. Like, usually like it's a couple dozen on screen, but there are some situations where they just go all out and they just go fuck it, and they put tons on the screen. Yeah, there are some like weird parts and quirky parts of the design, maybe holdovers from kind of emulating that old school arena PC shooter style. And I do, like, as much as I like them adding vehicles, I wish it was implemented a bit better. It feels a bit like an afterthought. It's just, oh, we made these really big levels, and they're made for the vehicles. But the vehicles have limited fuel, and they take damage, and you can't find extras. You can't, like, refuel them. You can't repair them. They don't put more than one in a level. Like, that stuff I wish was more, like, fixed out. But I think this is a bit of an underrated game. I think you know, it does a really good job of translating that Serious Sam gameplay. I think the addition of the Killing Spree multiplier and the end of level scoring system, taking that kind of Doom scoring, like the Doom like par time and kill time and secrets, and adding like a Devil May Cry 1 like point tally to it, and then giving you medals, and those medals unlock like extra hard levels. That's great. And then eventually you start unlocking cheat codes and things like that. That's a really compelling gameplay loop, especially for me. Again, I'm a sucker for slash action games, and that is, in my opinion, like one of the main pillars of slash action games, is to have these grading systems that are like, hey, you could do this better, and it's more rewarding to play better, and you get something out of it. So, but again, that PS2 version, outside of if people are playing it online, and I think if you go to the PS2 online Discord, I think every so often, not often, but you know, on occasion, they kind of cycle through and they do like, oh, here's a special night where we're just gonna all populate this one game, and that's probably the time to play the online for this. Again, if the co-op worked online, which that was probably impossible at the time, to be fair. So maybe that's asking too much. That would have been a deal changer for me. That would have been enough to say, like, okay, maybe PS2 version is worth it just for that. But no, this GameCube version is the version to play. I do want to have a quick look at this tier list again. I might change where I put Battlefield Modern Combat. I've actually, when I set up my PlayStation 2 router, so not router, the Ethernet adapter, and messed with some games with it, I specifically messed with SOCOM 2 and Battlefield Modern Combat. And honestly, Battlefield Modern Combat on PS2, at least the online, runs fine. It actually did not run as bad. And it might be easier to play that version than it is to play the 360 version now. So I might actually change my opinion on that. But I might want to go through more of that game. I don't know if I would do anything on stream. We might do a night, considering I want to look at the online multiplayer in Serious Sam Next Encounter on PS2. We might do a night where we look at a couple of games like that are already on the tier list that I maybe would move around. Now, that being said, here's our main thing we got to do now. Is we got to find out what game we're going to play next for the tier list. Serious Sam, that's done. That's on the tier list now. Again, I'll play this more in my own time. Just because I enjoy it so much. Especially on this Gamecube version. Like, this is the version to play. But, that's what I like about doing this tier list and doing these streams, is that, I get to showcase these slightly inferior ports or things like that and showcase, okay, so what does it actually look like if you play this game all the way through like this? But we got to see what game we're going to play for the tier list next. And as always, these might not happen immediately. It depends kind of the vibe or what kind of game we get, if I want to space them out. I believe I have added games to this. As always, you could check on my Twitch page. I have a link to a Google Doc that has games and ideas for streams. And it also links to a document that has the full list of these games. All these PS2 games, including the games that are in a series where we're going to play them in order. And I have added some on here where I've like checked them out in my own time and gone like, oh, okay, I played this for 30 minutes, 60 minutes. This is something I wouldn't want to do a full playthrough of. But we're going to shuffle, because by default, this list is in alphabetical order. So we're just going to blah, 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 a lot of times. I'm not even going to look. I'm not even looking right now. Well, I don't even know what's happening. One more. Okay. We ready for this? We ready? Are you ready? Are you ready? Transformation Central! Here we go. Here we go. Hey, that's a cool one. So, the reason why this is in slashes is because I'm counting these together, because the Marvel Ultimate Alliance games are basically the sequels to the X-Men Legends games. So I know what X-Men Legends is, a like dungeon crawler RPG series that eventually got into like Marvel Ultimate Alliance. I played a little bit of Marvel Ultimate Alliance 1 and 2 just to kind of try them out, specifically me and my nephew. Oh wait, no, I don't know if I did actually. I'm trying to remember if I played any of it with my nephew. I don't think I did. I think I want him to be a bit older. But I have heard of the X-Men versions, so I'm very curious to check this out. So we're not going to remove this yet from the wheel, because we've got X-Men Legends and X-Men Legends 2. Let's see. Oh yeah, my results have kind of reset here. But that's fine. So there you go. That will be the next playthrough. Now, I know it is a co-op game. I might do some research into it and see like what the options are. The thing is, I like to do these real hardware. So if I was to do them co-op, I would try and do them over those X-Link LAN emulation things, where it takes like the LAN mode and then just networks two systems together through a program. It's called like XKai or X-Link or something like that. But I'll do some more research on this. So this might not show up immediately next week. I might do some digging into it. There are a couple of games on this tier list up here, this tier list wheel, where you know what? I forgot to take the screenshot of the wheel result. That's fine. I will take a full screenshot of the tier list though and put it up on my Twitter. I still want to try and remake that tier list in a Google Doc, because the tier maker thing I have is offline. It's all saved locally, even though it's browser based. I just got to learn how to edit, see if you can even edit a Google Doc to like emulate a tier list thing like that. Might change it so it's not image based. It might just be like the name of the game in each tier. I don't know. I need to ask some people about that. But there we go. X-Men Legends, some RPG stuff. Again, it's one I was looking forward to because it's a series I completely missed out on. But for reference, because it's already on my tier list. But I want to do a look at it anyway. We're going to go through, as they come up on the wheel. We'll do X-Men Legends, then we'll do X-Men Legends 2, and then we'll do Marvel Ultimate Alliance, and these will be all PS2 versions. I know, so Marvel Ultimate Alliance and Marvel Ultimate Alliance 2 were primarily 7th generation games coming out on the PlayStation 3 and the Xbox 360. But they got PS2 versions, and the PS2 version of Marvel Ultimate Alliance 1 is interesting because it is mostly the same game, but it actually has a couple of unique characters that aren't in the other versions. Like both versions have slightly different rosters. We're not going to do a full playthrough of the PS2 version of Alliance 2. I've messed with it. It is barely playable. I do not know how it was even released, but we will look at it. We'll do like one stream of it. There's a couple of games that are like bad that we'll do like one look, like maybe one look at. We won't do like a full playthrough. There's actually a game I want to do a one-off that's not even on the wheel here, but I've looked up and it turns out the game's like 3 hours long, so we're probably just going to do the whole game on the stream. That I found. I won't spoil what it is, but it's a terrible game, it turns out. But we'll do a random playthrough of that at some point. But yeah, that's probably going to be it. Let me think of what wrapping up stuff we've got. But like I said, yeah, it's great. I can do GameCube games running on essentially real hardware, because with a Wii, it runs GameCube games because it has the components of a GameCube inside it. So it is just a GameCube. In much the same way that you can play PlayStation 2 games on a PlayStation 1 because it has most of the PlayStation 1 hardware inside the console as well as the PS2 stuff. I'm glad to finally get it on stream. I'm glad that the deinterlace, I got it looking good, because again, it was really annoying when I was setting the stream up and it was like, okay, when this is interlaced, it doesn't look like 60 FPS. And the reason why is because each alternating like series of lines is each reoccurring frame. So it just kind of looked, it just looked like a 30 FPS game with loads of lines in it. Like loads of V-sync splits. Which obviously that's not what was happening. Though, I'll have to look into that Swift bin that can force some games to run at 480p next time. If I play a GameCube thing. But again, we'll at some point we're going to play Resident Evil Remake. We won't play the GameCube version. We'll play the HD version I have on Steam. But we might load that up at some point just to have a look at it. Alone in the Dark, Eternal Darkness, that will definitely get played on stream at some point. I've really got to think of like some GameCube's exclusives. Heck, I might do Luigi's Mansion at some point, because that's a horror game. It's kind of like a Resident Evil style game with the keys and everything and the mansion. So I probably would. But I have to have a think. Because the GameCube wasn't really my system growing up. My older sister had the GameCube, so anything I played was like vis-a-vis what she had when I would hang out with her. So I would say it's probably one of the smallest game collections I have in my collection. The only one that's smaller, straight up, is Dreamcast. Even though it's my sister's Dreamcast stuff, I guess she didn't keep much of it. I think she only has about like 5 or 6 games. But I think for the GameCube, I maybe have 20 or less games. And a couple of them are ones I got myself, but it's... And also, I think there's one where, like, I have the case, but the disc's missing. I've got to replace it at some point. But again, I have this thing now, so I can run the NTSC version, so we don't have to worry about playing the versions that run at 50 hertz. Because again, not every GameCube game had the PAL 60 support. Though, funny enough, there are some GameCube games that came out in Europe that only had PAL 60. They couldn't run in PAL 50. So if you didn't have like the right TV for it, that game would be in black and white. For the record, if you tried to play NTSC signal on a PAL TV here, I guess it depends on the TV, but all the TVs I had, the older ones, the image would just be in black and white. I think sometimes the image would be like a green hue for some TVs, or it might just be black. But I remember with the really old TVs I would have had like early to the 2000s, that it was black and white for some reason if you ran it in NTSC. Like, it ran at full speed. It's just obviously you had no color, and it would look funny. Alright. Like I said, this was going to be a shorter stream because I didn't get that online stuff sorted in time. Hang on. Alright, so what will be happening next? I'll be back Tuesday. Second day of the week. The Tuesday. Where we'll be doing more Batman Arkham City. Probably the final part of Batman Arkham City. Based on where we are in the story. Like, we'll do as much of the side content as we can before the ending, then we'll do the ending and then go back to the side content. Like I said, I'm not going to do all the Riddler stuff on stream. Again, I think maybe a valid criticism of Batman Arkham City is that they went a bit too far with how much Riddler stuff they put in there. Even if I enjoy doing it more in City because there are actual puzzles tied to them, they do put a lot of them in there. Just straight up. And then I'm not sure what we're going to do Thursday. I don't know if we're going to immediately go into X-Men Legends. I have to think on that. Again, I try and put random news out. I don't do it often, but I'm really trying to put more stuff out on my Twitter just to keep people informed. That's at Johnny Baghead, if you want to see random updates like that. I am still in the back working on the Jebediah Sack stuff, his Freedom stream that got delayed. That's getting picked up again, and he'll show up. Oh, don't you worry. He's a-coming. I can't stop him. I can only aid him in his quest for freedom. But that'll be it. Let me have a quick goosey over here. See if anyone to raid into. Nah, it's a bit early. A lot of the people I know, either they've already streamed or they don't stream for another hour. So we're just going to wrap up here. But, oh, there we go. Oh god, I can't wait to get this new cushion for this chair. It's weird. The back is way better for me, but the cushion, it feels like it should be really well padded. You sit on it, it's not. So I can't wait to get this memory foam lumbar fin on here tomorrow and try it out. Give that fin a real ass workout. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the show. I've been your host, Johnny Baghead. And yeah, no, seriously, that's my name, Johnny Baghead. Who named him that way? Hopefully, there's no one else who goes by that name on YouTube. That'd be awkward.